Welcome back to another episode of the Become a Calm Mama podcast. I'm your host, I'm Darlene Childress, and today we're going to talk about trauma and foster kids and neurodivergence, what it means to parent kids whose nervous systems fire in ways that are unpredictable, that are intense, that are challenging for us, and how to stay calm and how to help our kids regulate. And you're going to learn two different techniques that are really important for self-regulating yourself and helping your kids become more regulated themselves. The fun part of this episode is that I have invited Jamie Finn to come and talk to us today because she is a foster parent and an adoptive parent and a parent of children that she's birthed as well. And she has a lot of experience raising kids who are neurodivergent, who have trauma backgrounds. And Jamie shares with us on this podcast what she's had to learn about herself and how to calm her nervous system so that she can show up as the mom she wants to be to her family of 7 children. Her story is really interesting, and we talk a little bit about religion. We talk a little bit about how we were raised and how we have had to learn new ways to cope and to parent our kids and heal along the way. I think everyone is going to be able to relate to this because we really kind of drill down what it means to be a mom and how hard it is to stay calm and to raise kids, period, especially kids who are neurodivergent or have any sort of trauma history. I really hope you enjoy this episode and that you enjoy meeting Jamie just as much as I enjoyed talking with her. Welcome, Jamie. It's so nice to meet you.
Hi, Darlene. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this conversation. The last couple of episodes on the podcast, I shared my adoption and infertility story really for the first time for episode 200.
Okay.
It's not that I hadn't talked about it. I just hadn't really shared the whole story.
Sure.
So for episode 200, I was like, okay, I'm going to, I like to make those ones mean something. And then I had my coach or my therapist who taught me how to be a trauma-informed parent on. Her name's Jeanette Yaffe, and she was with us last week. And so this week I wanted to talk to you about your experience as a foster mom, as an adoptive mom, as a mom who birthed children, and just kind of what you've learned along the way and share your story with us so we can learn from you and grow with you.
Oh, yeah. So happy to share.
Yeah. So what brought you to becoming a foster mom? Like, tell us a little bit about your story. You have a blog, Foster the Family. Tell us how many children you have and like what's been happening for you, kind of where you're at now and like how you got here.
Yeah. So 11 years ago, we found ourselves with 2 kids, 1 boy, 1 girl, sort of happily ever after American dream kind of living. And it was a little bit of okay, what now? Like, what does it look like to live on mission? What does it look like to not just have our family be about our family, but our family be about others, be about God's kingdom, really like use our family to love the world. And so we became foster parents, and my husband was pretty reluctant, nervous.
I could imagine.
Our deal was 1 kid, 1 time. And that was 30 kids and 4 adoptions and 11 years ago. So we really like had faith for the yes and didn't know what it was going to become. But it has become, a lifelong journey of serial sort of foster parenting at this point, of keeping our doors open to kids who need us. And we now have 7 kids. So not at all what we thought it was going to be. But we've adopted 4 kids through foster care. We have 1 kiddo in placement right now. And our kids are from 2 to almost 17. So we have toddlers and teenagers and everything in between. And that has been our journey for the past 11 years.
Incredible. Um, I want to ask you like how you had to grow as a woman, as a mother, how you had to like I think we all want to be parents who are connected and compassionate,
Yeah,
this
sure.
new not new trend, but the shift from traditional parenting to a more connected model.
Right.
Anyone listening is like aligned with that and wants that for themselves and is listening to podcasts like mine and others because it's like I know what
Sure.
I want to do, but I don't know
Yeah, yeah,
how to do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't have any models of it. But then I think about for myself and when you take a child into your home who has experienced any sort of attachment disruption, abandonment, neglect, abuse, right?
Hmm.
Those kind of big T traumas, you are kind of at bat, like at a higher level. So I just wonder, like, I know for me, I had to really heal from my
Mm,
own trauma background. I have an ACE score of 9 for
mm,
me, and I've talked about that on the
mm.
podcast. So parenting kids who were not traditional, like neurotypical, like
Sure, sure.
it just triggered everything in me all the
Mm,
time.
hmm.
I felt unsafe all the time with their reactive behaviors. I mean, it was so much for me. I had to just double down and learn everything I could. And I would
Yeah,
imagine that even if you didn't have a trauma background, just what it was like for you to,
yeah.
what did you have to learn or grow? How'd you do that?
Yeah. Yeah. So, what is dissimilar in our stories is that I didn't have a trauma background. What is similar is that it was my kids' trauma histories that brought me into becoming trauma informed, that led me to going like, oh, this is not just about being trauma informed. This is about connected parenting. This is about brain based parenting. This is about seeing my kids as full people. And so you mentioned traditional parenting. I think for me, it was even a step deeper than that. It was this really conservative, Christian, gospel centered, like Christian traditional parenting.
Yeah.
So,
Would you
like,
say that's very authoritarian?
yes,
Yeah.
very
Okay.
authoritarian. I mean, the first parenting training that I ever went to, I remember it clear as day because there was something in me that right away was like, I don't know about
It's like in theory
this.
fine, but once you have a kid and you imagine manipulating them in certain ways for their
Yeah.
behavior, it's like, wait, no, I don't actually want to hit this little baby, or I don't want to
So
pinch him, or yeah, whatever it
this
was.
was this was literally the scenario. I'm going to tell you what the scenario was. That it was so insane looking back, but um, put them on a blanket and put shiny, like colorful things around them.
I think I'm
And
gonna
this is,
feel
yeah, this
uncomfortable.
is a training ground
Okay.
for stay on the blanket. And when they crawl off the blanket, you correct them, AKA hit them,
Mm-hmm.
so that they will go back on the blanket.
Yeah.
Now, straight away, even in my uber traditional sort of, I was like, there is no world where I'm doing this. This is insane. I'm not doing this. But that was the kind of background that I came from,
Yeah.
and the
It's a high
kind of,
control, fear-based model, right? It's like,
and
hmm
very authoritarian,
yep.
very like, I understand how Christian parenting models get there.
hmm
It is God gives authority, and authority is given to parents, and I have your best in mind, and you need to learn from me. And
Yeah.
so I understand how everyone's just trying to do their best, right? That it's not like people don't love their kids and they're trying to hurt them. And there was something right away that I was like, nope, this isn't it. And I was at my very first trauma training. I don't know that we even had a child through foster care yet. I think we may have had a baby. So I wasn't yet really experiencing what any of this meant. Now, of course, I know that babies have experienced trauma if they've joined our homes through foster care. And so I understand that now, but it's not like I was seeing behaviors or seeing
No. Yeah.
any of the fruit of it. But I had a child with ADHD, anxiety, nerd.
A child that you birthed. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Biological child,
Uh-huh.
neurodivergent, some struggles with mental illness. And right away, I was like, wait a second, this whole trauma informed thing, this works with them.
Yes.
And it sort of opened my eyes to this isn't just about trauma. This is about seeing our kids' brains and meeting our kids where they are and not just coming in and saying, I am the authority and this is how we run our home and these are our rules. First time obedience, happy
Yeah.
obedience. Yes, mom. But like, my heart is for you and I'm with you and I want you to be able to succeed in obedience. And like it just changed everything for me. And it put me on this journey for the past 11 years of imperfectly, but trying to love and parent my children.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about like I also come from a Christian background. I don't identify that way at all anymore, but I like had all my models and my friends and my I left faith like around well with adoptive kids actually. It was part of my journey.
Mm,
Which we do not need to get into. But one of the things that was like interesting for me as an adoptive mom is I had to do study home studies after placement. And I kept thinking, I can't have an 18-month-old like say mama hits me or something like that.
right,
Like
sure.
I just looked at these other models that, my friends were doing swats and flicks and whatever they were doing. And I was just like, I will get in trouble.
Hmm.
Like I have, when you're an adoptive parent, you kind of just you're not as entitled. Like there's like other people paying attention to your parenting. So it was internally I didn't want to parent that way. It didn't feel
Yeah.
right, but
Hmm.
also I didn't want to lose my kid that I just got, that I worked so hard
Well,
to get.
yeah, you're aware of two things. First of all, the complexity. You just used the word entitled, which is such a great point. It's that like this idea that I am not the only mother to this child,
Hmm.
that there is this complexity and nuance of who this child belongs to.
Yes.
That's a piece of it. And then the other piece is just that you are flinging your doors wide open to the state and to others. And so you are being, I mean, as moms, we're like, we don't, you're not judged and no, you are literally judged as a
Yes.
foster adoptive mom. There are literally people who are judging you.
Yeah.
And so there is this bright light on just how are you parenting and what are your choices? And it helps you evaluate and really answer those questions with a little more clarity and conviction.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And when we make this shift into, like you said, like recognizing that my child is a person, right? They have thoughts and feelings
Hmm.
and neurodivergence, like they're like what, they're not giving me a hard time. They're having a hard time,
Sure.
right? Just for me, when I learned feelings drive behavior, that sentence, I
Hmm.
was like, wait, what?
Right.
It was such a paradigm shift. And this was 15, 16 years ago. So it was early on in this kind of, now it's much more common for people to understand nervous system and, amygdalas and cortisol and like all these different, we have so much brain education, which I
Yeah.
love.
Thank goodness.
Thank
Yeah.
goodness. Yeah. Um, but at the time, I just was like, wait, what are you saying? Because I definitely came from a model of children are manipulative, children are,
Hmm.
I don't know, all that kind of thing that I need to like use behavior charts and rewards and, you know, consequences and all. I do teach consequences, but it was very manipulative.
Yeah,
And
sure.
that was just the model that I had. So when I, for myself, was like, okay, wait, feelings drive behavior. And I wanted to define trauma informed parenting. I want to ask you how you define it. Um, and I was looking it up. And when I looked it up, it said, based on the concept that behaviors are often windows into underlying emotions or unmet needs. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's not trauma informed parenting. It's like
That's
informed,
just,
human
yeah, that's
informed
so good.
parenting or
Yeah, right.
something. Yeah. I mean, like trauma informed parenting, like how do you define it in your mind? Like,
Yeah. So I would say that there it's looking for the need behind the behavior.
Yeah.
And you're right. That's just, I mean, I don't change the way that I parent with my kids who haven't experienced trauma. I'm still like, what's the need here and how can we meet that?
Yeah.
Um, I think that when you're trauma informed, you're a lot more curious about the need behind the behavior.
Yeah.
So, because you don't know the child's full history, I think it leads to a curiosity that leads to a generosity. So with
Mm,
my bio kids, I can be more tempted to go like, oh, you're being selfish.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And with my kids who've experienced trauma, I could be more prone to say, oh, this is a trigger that reminds you of the time where you didn't experience comfort at night, or
Mhm.
those things. I think it leads to curiosity, which leads to generosity, which leads to meeting that need. And like you're saying, well, isn't that just the best way to meet all of our kids' needs?
Yeah, it's so easy to decide whether someone's entitled to an emotion, like
For
we
sure.
think, like,
Right.
you know, or a desire. Like, you shouldn't want what your sibling has because you already have so many things.
Sure.
And it's like desire is not inherently wrong, or, having a feeling of sadness or a feeling of anger. It's just a feeling that needs
Sure.
to be seen and validated and addressed, and then also coped with, and given strategies to I always think of it digestively, like metabolize the feeling.
Sure, sure, sure.
And so yes, I love that curiosity leads to generosity. I just really do think it's so applicable to parenting in general. But yeah, like I have a kid who one of the ways that his trauma background came about is through a eating disorder.
Mm,
So it's called RFID. It's like maybe you know about avoidant restrictive food
hmm.
intake disorder.
Hmm.
So it's like picky eating, but
Hmm.
some other
To the
level.
nth degree, right?
Yeah. And when I was so like, for one, nurturing your children through food is almost like it's almost a primal thing
Yeah,
as a
it's
mom.
so true, right?
Yeah. So then when they don't take the food in, it feels like a rejection of nurture.
Sure.
Uh-huh. And
It's
then
a
you?
failure. Yeah, I think we can experience that from the beginning with bio kids,
Yes,
with like
without nursing.
nursing and all of that. And so I get that for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, he's 19 and I recently made eggs for him, and then might tear up, but that was, I turned to my husband, I said, it was the first time I ever cooked something I ate.
Oh, wow.
That I cooked it like it wasn't like an instant oatmeal or an instant
Wow. That you
yogurt.
made it
I
from
made it in my
scratch.
house. Yeah. And
Right,
I handed
right.
it to him.
Wow.
Um, and he's like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, never eaten any food I've made."
Wow.
Um, and that's 19 years old. So at some
Yeah, yeah,
point
yeah.
early on, I had to figure out a different relationship to
Sure.
it. And like
Yep.
in the beginning, of course, I really didn't understand it, but then getting curious, like, what was his history? My
That's
kids were
right.
in Russian orphanages.
Mm,
And so a year of neglect and
hmm.
not being fed on cue and all of these things. And I was like,
Hmm.
okay, this means so much more to my
Yeah,
child. And this is a massive maladaptive coping strategy, but it's a coping strategy. It's not about me.
that's right.
And then I mean, I was like a calories first model. That was like, it was just like, no quality. I don't care about macro. Nope. Does this person have enough to not
Yeah,
die?
yeah, yeah,
Um, but that's like when we understand our children and that curiosity leads us to that understanding,
yeah.
then you're like, what are the bare minimums? How do I make these needs? How do I meet these needs?
Yeah, well, and I can so easily get there with my kids from trauma. I can get there with my kid who's neurodivergent and mentally ill. I have the hardest time getting there with my kid who is my little mini me, who kind of has their act together. And that is the one where I can go like, come on, let's get it together. Like, let's instead of seeing, oh, same thing, just a full person with needs and struggles and emotions, and so I fight just as hard to be curious of like, okay, what's going on? It might not be in the same way in their story or even in their brain body biology, all that, but like what's going on in their hormones right now, what's going on in their
Mhm.
diet, what's going on in their school schedule, their sleep, their friendships, and
Yes.
trying to have that same curiosity of not just like, oh, they're being a jerk or like,
Yeah.
oh, they're being selfish.
Right. So
But
much criticism, but then when I think of it like, I call it the journey to compassion, and we start in criticism ultimately or judgment of the behavior and even the feeling. And then we get to neutral. We're like, I don't know what's whatever, whatever. Like, and
Mhm.
then curious. It's always the stage before true compassion has to be curiosity. Like,
Yeah,
what is going on?
that's right.
And it's like, I think parents rhetorically, like, why are you acting this way?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
It's a great question.
what's that? Yeah, like, let's just
Right.
answer it.
Right, right. Yeah. And our kids usually can't answer it. And
Yeah.
that's why they act in behavior.
Uh-huh.
And that's why it's our job to be little detectives
Yeah.
that look at whether it's their story from 10 years ago or the womb, or whether it's their story from this day and what they ate or what happened at school, to go like, oh, what are some of the potential reasons that this is playing out this way? And even if I can't answer that, how can I look at them as a full person who
Yeah.
needs compassion right now? The
Yeah.
same way I do. The
I
same
do
way
all the time. I
sometimes
think about
I just have,
myself
yeah.
when I coach in my private practice. I'll think to myself, I think often I'm the child's advocate in the conversation.
Mm,
That's how I anchor myself
sure.
because a parent has a hard time for many reasons of getting to that curiosity or even kind of answering the question because maybe they don't have enough child development background or whatever the reason is.
Or they're in a place of blocked care. They're in a place of compassion fatigue themselves. They're in a place of
Yes.
just, it's so hard to show up over and over and over for kids.
So hard,
Yeah.
especially parenting kids from trauma or
Yeah.
neurodivergence. It's
Yeah.
for compassion fatigue is real. Yes, and it's like in the coaching process, it's like I'm their their compassionate witness
Sure. Sure.
with that sense of like, let's just get you regulated. Like let's
Yeah.
get you
I'm
here
here for
now.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm always like, but now let's think about what might be going on. And then the quality of the conversation or the parenting is so much more robust
That's good.
and integrated. Um, but yeah, you're right. Like putting your kid in a narrative is so important, like either today or this past week or
Mm-hmm.
their trauma story, whatever it could be. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, answering what could be going on underneath.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. And I was going to ask, like, how has being an adoptive parent and a foster parent impacted how you parent all your children? And it sounds like curiosity is one of those main grounding tools you
Yeah.
have. What
Yeah,
else do you
definitely.
notice?
Yeah, I think that again, the shift from you will obey
Hmm.
to let's really look at regulation. Regulation is not a word that I heard or used 10, 15 years ago, ever.
Yeah.
And now it's a word that my toddlers say. Like that is a word that
I
is,
just felt dysregulated.
yeah, exactly. That is just an everyday, all day kind of word because it is not wrong to feel dysregulated. It is
Mhm.
not a misbehavior. It's not disobedience. It's not like going back to that traditional. Um, and there's an answer to it. There is something that we could do about it. So I have had a major shift with all of my kids of identifying, you don't just feel stress and anger and all these like negative, well, we're feeling dysregulated. And the good news is when we feel dysregulated, we have tools. And it looks different for my 2-year old or my 17-year old. My 2-year old, tons of co-regulation, obviously. But my 17-year old, I literally will, and goodness, my husband and myself, I will say,
Mhm.
take a breath.
Yeah.
It just with my 17-year old, like I'm not saying, okay, let's go in the corner. We're going to go in your toolbox. We're
Right,
going
right.
to, I'm just like, take a breath
Hmm.
or, go in your room for a minute. You need space.
Yeah.
But those like little like practices that we've had for a long time of calming our body before we do the work of conversation and planning and repair and all of those things. That has been huge for our
Yeah.
family. We do that in a different way because we had that training for our trauma kids that we really
Hmm.
all needed.
Uh-huh. It's so true. I do notice sometimes parents will say, you need a break or you're mad or,
Yeah, or
they'll like
you're
narrate
in a
and name
bad
it.
mood.
Yeah, they'll kind of try to narrate and name it. And I've noticed that if you aren't in a state of bearing witness of that dysregulation, and maybe you don't want to co-regulate like your 17-year-old. You're not suggesting, hey, why don't whatever? Why don't we sit down and like
Right.
let's have a snack together and I'll talk to you about this in a few minutes, or whatever it is, like, or why don't you just yell it out a little bit, like, whatever that looks like with an older teen. Um, most of the time, especially if they've been coached, they can kind of check and
That's right.
you're just giving them a little pause break, right? Go
Right.
take care of yourself. But what I've noticed is that when we're activated, the person has a lot of trouble receiving the note, the
Hmm.
feedback, because they kind of feel judged on some level. I don't know if you understand what I'm
I totally
suggesting.
understand what you're
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
It's like calm when I talk about become a calm mama, calm on my podcast all the time. There's like a deeper sense, and we can get dysregulated, of course. And we're like, you're just really mad. You're just acting like a really mad and we get kind of snarky, and
Hmm.
and then the kid, it activates them. And then when we're trying to maybe co-regulate
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
help them through their dysregulation, and then it just keeps getting messier and messier.
Yeah.
It, yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
We don't need to be defensive of the fact that we're not dysregulated,
Yeah.
where it is easy to be defensive of the idea that you're in a bad mood
Yeah.
or you're being mean or you're angry or those things. So yeah, I think it brings the defenses down to say like, hey, I and we again use that word and we've taken away any stigma from it. Like,
Mhm.
and I say it all the time, like, I'm feeling dysregulated. I need a second.
Mhm.
And so I do think that it helps. It like you're saying, we're with you in it, and I want to help you come down, not sort of judge you and throw stones at you while you're in that state.
Yeah, so really creating a family that normalizes the language, sounds
And that
like,
we're
of
all gonna experience it.
dysregulation. And
Yeah.
I think in our family, I don't know how much we use dysregulation. I think we use overwhelm a
Mm,
lot.
okay.
Um, like I'm just feeling quite overwhelmed and I need a minute, or you seem a
Hmm.
little overwhelmed and
Hmm.
maybe you need a second, or let's go do this. Like if you're going to co-regulate, let's go do this and get some of our big feelings out. Yeah, but I don't think there's no problem with it. It's just naming. You have to have some language as a family to like point to the thing
Yeah.
that is happening,
Yeah.
where we've already neutralized it so many times that then they don't need to feel defensive, or the child doesn't need to feel attacked or judged or
Right.
whatever.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and
But then I think sometimes we can still say it, like I hear it in my clients. They're like, I was really calm. And I was like, you are dysregulated.
right,
And I was
right.
like, uh-huh, you're not calm.
Right. That's so funny.
And that's okay because it's like a miss. And that I think is a big part about parenting, and particularly parenting kids with trauma or neurodivergence,
Hmm.
which is trauma is a neurodivergence because it rewires the brain in proper
Hmm.
way, right?
Hmm.
Um, how much a bigger lift it is to stay regulated, and how much more important it is.
That's right.
And that is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what we know about what trauma does to the brain is essentially, without getting into like all of the brain development, is it makes the parts that are reactive bigger and more reactive. And it makes the parts that are really thoughtful and do good planning and thinking smaller and less potent. And
Yeah.
so we have a brain that is just like ready to go, ready to activate, activated, ready to get afraid and stay afraid. And so
Mhm. Well, the
it
window of
is
stress tolerance, sometimes we talk about it that way, right? Like a
okay,
person
yeah,
who has high cortisol naturally because of
right.
trauma or difficulty regulating dopamine, whatever it is in the brain. Then when you add a little bit extra, it's like a full cup, it's going to
Mm-hmm.
overflow really fast. But if you have a neurotypical non-trauma kid, maybe they have a bigger window. The cup
Mm-hmm.
is less full. And
Mm-hmm.
so they can handle a little bit more uh, stimulation, a little bit more excitement. We
Right.
just had Halloween. Some kids are going to just be fine. They're going to have a
That's
big
right.
fat fun day
That's right.
and they're going to have extra candy and they're going to figure it out. And it's going to be a little wild, possibly for like 20 minutes. Then they're going to get to bed. You
Right.
have a kid with trauma, you have a kid who's neurodivergent. Whew, you
Yeah.
kind of like, you're a little bit more on top of it. Like, no, 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 we're only having two candies. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, we're not, oh, we're going to come inside and we're going to take a break. You have to do so much effort to keep that window open for
Mm-hmm.
the stress and then be ready for that pop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is
Well,
a
and
lot.
then and let's talk about what that does to you
Yes, I do want to talk about that.
as a mom,
Mm-hmm.
because that keeps you brimming with your
Yes.
cup as well of now all of your kids' triggers are your triggers and all of
Mhm.
your, I mean, the way that you just were even walking through Halloween. Yeah, it's that, oh my gosh, okay, oh wait, we have to manage everyone and their stressors and their triggers and so it is essentially increasing our cortisol levels
Yes.
and changing our brain chemistry and keeping us activated. And so there then is a really uphill battle for us as parents of kids with trauma and
It really
neurodivergence.
is.
Yeah.
And neurodivergence, it's unfortunate because in that it just is so much effort and the lift is so heavy and you feel like a crazy person
Hmm.
because you're not having a typical experience.
That's right. Right.
And you're like I was like in so many ways I felt like I was always like coming at from infertility to adoption.
Mm,
It's like the back door to parenting. I always said, like, I didn't come through
mm,
the front door. Like, I snuck
mm,
in the back, and now I'm like already back here, and
mm.
it's very different. I got 1 year olds. I didn't get infants. I mean, it was like had a different experience, and then that's
Sure.
also my own narrative. I'm different, whatever. But
Sure. Sure.
then I'm also literally having a different experience with a 4 year old than is typical. The preschool teachers don't understand.
Sure.
The play groups don't understand. The
Hmm.
mom, parent educators come and you raise your hand and you're like, whenever I make cookies,
Yep.
it's like my child won't stop eating the sugar. And they're like, you just need to say no.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You need to be stronger
Yeah.
and have more boundaries. And
If you
then
give a sticker, then yeah. Yep.
I was like, what? That's why I do what I do because I was like, those strategies are not effective. Like, I want to find effective strategies that calm me truly,
Right. Right.
actually connect with my kid, actually set boundaries. But I just want to share with any mom out there who is feeling that way. It's like you can say it too. It's not, they're not crazy. It is
Mm-hmm.
harder
Mm-hmm.
objectively, and they have to work
Mm-hmm.
harder
Mm-hmm.
at calming themselves and work harder at calming their kids.
Right.
And I don't know how you are doing it with so many.
Yeah. A great question. Yeah. I mean it's definitely been a journey and it has been the experience of falling flat on my face in really burnout and blocked care and then standing up or dragging myself up and going like, okay, something needs to change. And the expectation can't be that the kids are going to be the ones who are going to change. It needs to be me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had this one time with my therapist. She was like, okay, I want you to keep a stress journal and I want you to kind of write what precedes it and then what you felt in your body and where you felt it. And it was a great idea. But by like 8 a.m., I threw it away because I was like,
Mhm.
this is crazy. This is actually unhelpful because I'm stressed every 5 seconds and I'm feeling it everywhere. And what it led me to is, oh, I have to do something about my stress level because they are going to just absolutely hijack my nervous system every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And so it put me on this journey of almost like a, a prescription, like I have to treat my body like I am a marathon runner, like I am a double marathon runner, where I have to take care of myself in every way, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, so that I can show up for them. Because when I show up for this kind of 125% job at 50%, like it's just not going to work.
Mm-mm. You're not going to be able to show up as the parent you want to be.
No.
And the parent you want to be is actually the parent they need in order to learn to rewire their nervous systems.
And in order for anything in our home to
Yeah.
become more peaceful,
Yes.
like,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
they're straight chaos. And so then it pulls me into straight chaos,
Mhm.
which then leaves them in the. So, like, I want the dynamic in my home to change, but I have to be the one who's going to be available to co regulate. And
Yeah.
if I'm not regulated, then we're all screwed.
I
Like,
know.
if I'm not in a regulated state, then they are staying in their dysregulated state forever.
Yeah.
And so it's a huge pressure, but it was something that I was feeling the pressure either way. Like either I
Yeah,
was living
exactly.
in
It's going to
that.
be a,
It's the
a shit
reality.
show and you're going to feel terrible, or maybe you feel okay. And
It's the
it,
reality.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it will still be hard, but you will at least feel more equipped on some
Right.
level. Yeah.
Right. And so it was a click in my head for me of like, okay, this whole like, oh yeah, I exist on like lots of coffee and 6 hours sleep. And I just kind of like, no, I have to go to therapy and I have to get my sleep and I have to wake up and walk every day and read my Bible and be with my people and drink water and all of the things where I'm caring for my body in a prescriptive kind of way, in a like,
Yeah.
I'm taking my medicine
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
that I can show up for my people. And so it's been a huge shift for me
Yeah.
in, even even just the idea that for me to stay regulated
Mhm.
is far easier than for me to become dysregulated and then have to re-regulate. Like, what
Yeah.
do I need to do? Okay, I have to wake up early. I hate waking up early. Well, that means I need to go to bed early. I hate going to bed early. But like, you know what I hate more? I hate waking up to kids screaming and me coming down and yelling at everyone. And now we're late and we're stressed out and they're going to school stressed. And then I'm getting a call from the it's the catch up. It's the all the decisions that hinge on the choices that I make.
Yeah.
And so it had to start with me seeing myself as sort of like the cornerstone of like this is what needs to change. And we have seen dramatic change. I mean, I wish it was as simple as I could change my kids. I wish it was like I
I
could
know. If we could just
heal
manage
them.
behavior better, we wouldn't have any problems.
Right.
Yeah,
I
that's
wish it
that's
was
not
that
it's not
simple.
the way it works. If we are calm and regulated, they're regulated, and then they behave off track less often.
And I think the difference is that we don't now have a home of chaos.
Yeah,
We
it's
have a
so huge.
home of individuals who struggle, and they struggle in different ways at different times. And then hopefully we come back down and then we have a home of peace and joy
Mhm.
rather than a home that lives in chaos. And that has been the biggest shift.
Yeah, it's so great, and I think everyone's like, "How?" And it's really by figuring out how to calm your own nervous system. I mean,
That's right.
ultimately, it's like, is it movement? Is it vigorous movement? Is it soft movement? Is it, you know, having time by yourself in the morning, or is it going to bed early, or is it both? Um,
When you're saying, is it, I'm like, yes.
yes, right, right,
It
right.
is, it is
But then
all
you
of those.
find one or two things. It's like
Yeah.
some people, it might be meditation, but some people might be journaling. Some people might be doing more hobbies, like bringing if the art back into your life, or turning on music, or whatever those kinds of
Yeah.
things are that really soothe your nervous system. And there are general practices that are great. Move your body, move your mind. Those are,
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely say start with move your body,
yeah.
and move your mind. Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
then the gift is that they build upon
They do.
themselves. So
Yeah. The
like,
more capacity you do one, it
exactly.
builds more capacity to create
Right.
time and energy for the next thing. And
That's right.
mhm.
So when people are saying like, "Oh my gosh, is it this or this or this?" It's you start with one
Yeah.
and then you experience, "Oh, now I actually have more capacity, I have more energy, I actually feel more vitality to do
Hmm.
the things that I used to enjoy doing." And now the walk is built in. That's just a normal practice. That's a rhythm. So now I'm
Yeah.
not fighting for that. So now I'm fighting for the journaling. Okay,
Hmm.
now the journaling is a rhythm. So now I'm fighting for water, and it just kind of like builds upon itself. And things like starting your day with a walk, well, that actually makes it a million times easier to make good food choices and make good
Hmm.
water. It they build
Yeah.
upon themselves. But I
Yeah.
think when we see our lives as out of control, which when you have trauma in your home, you can feel like I didn't cause any of this and I can't fix any of this. And both of those things are true,
Hmm.
but they can leave you to feeling completely out of control.
Yeah.
Well,
And powerless. Yeah.
yeah. So then if you're a victim to everything happening in your home, then you go like, well, what's the point? Well, this
Yeah.
is all just going to stay like this. Well, seeing that you actually have power to change the dynamic in your home, it starts to change everything. It
Yeah. It
starts to
does.
change the way you approach your kids,
Hmm.
starts to change the way you approach your day. And so it's huge. It's
Hmm.
massive to change this mindset to, oh, I actually can make a difference in the dynamic of my home.
Yeah. It's very empowering for sure. I think, I think all those physical like activities and things that we do are really important. I think also a big thing for me was really that mindset shift to
Yeah.
see behavior as pain. Ultimately,
Mm-hmm.
I'll say something
Mm-hmm.
like, this is pain talking. Uh, because then if I'm not so hyper focused on fix it, change it, stop it, solve it, like get it done, stop it, what can we do? If I'm in that if I look at my children's behavior and I'm like, like if I keep panicking
Sure.
about it when I see it and I want to be reactive and do something and get rid of it and like deal, or if there's an urgency there, then I'm kind of firing my nervous system all day long in that
Yeah,
to that
that's
fight
good.
flight. But if
Right.
I just actively change the way I view it in the first place
That's good.
and see it as a an emotion that is
Mm,
struggling to be expressed or a need that's struggling to be met, then I won't be so activated, especially if I have the confidence, like what you're saying, if I have the confidence that I can help that feeling or I
yeah.
can meet that need on some level,
Yeah. There's
then
nothing to panic about.
no, there's nothing to panic about.
Now my brain is okay. My body is okay. That's a
Yeah, like
great
I'm
point.
not
Yeah.
activated at all. And it's like deeper sense of like, I'm okay, we're okay, it's
Sure.
okay. And when
Right.
I call it internalized security, it's like, especially because I have such a bad trauma
Mm,
background
mm-hmm.
myself, been through so many traumatic things, even for infertility is an adult trauma,
Mm,
like just
mm-hmm.
so many
Mm-hmm.
things, parent loss. I mean, it goes on and on. But I have a preset in some ways to look at the world as dangerous
Sure.
and to see myself as like always being ready to like fight and like protect or run away, whatever it is. And I was reproaching my children's behavior from that mindset.
Sure.
And when I started to heal that, starting with them, just like they're not out to get me.
Mm,
They're not actually a lion's about to attack or
mm.
cheetah's about to come get me. Like I'm
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Then I wasn't so activated. So it's kind of
Well,
like both.
and let me take my journey sort of full circle the way you just did, because same thing. If I don't see every behavior as wrong,
Yeah.
as sin,
Sin,
as,
yeah.
as in the Christian narrative, as like, this is something that needs to change immediately because this is going to bring destruction to you. Like,
Mhm.
it's the same thing of,
Yeah.
that's what brings the fear and the panic, is this is going to ruin your life.
Yeah.
Instead of just like you're saying, like, oh, you're going through something hard right now. Like, oh yeah, this is a sad thing, and you need your mom to sit with you through it.
Exactly. Like
Yeah,
emotions come, emotions go, they pass. You're all right. But
yeah,
if
yeah.
I can't go to that energy if I'm not like, we're all right, I'm all
Sure,
right. Yeah.
sure,
And
sure.
I think we get there through those practices of what movement, right? Rhythm, like moving our bodies in a rhythmic way, like walking is a main one. Um, and having times of quiet, having
Hmm.
times of reflection, prayer, meditation, reading spiritual books, um, self-help books, if those are helpful, journaling. I think those are times when we can be teaching our nervous system, we're okay. Like you're
Yeah, right.
resetting, right? You're dealing with that
Sure.
stress juice. You're coming down to baseline.
Yeah,
And the more often you're at baseline, longer you can keep it there.
right.
And when you teach yourself to not get activated, you're like, oh, no, no, no. Okay, go back to that.
Right.
But
Whereas
whatever
I
I
was
experienced at 6
living,
a.m.
my baseline was
was
activated.
high. Yeah.
Baseline all the
Hmm.
time.
Yeah.
So yeah, to be able to switch that of, oh, I'm actually staying in a place of regulation. And there are times where, oh yeah, I am activated. I am dysregulated. There is something scary and hard going on. But that now I can come back to the
You have some
baseline
tools.
of,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, so
instead of
good.
like, oh, I live up here. Yeah.
Yes. And I think that's very easy for families. There's a lot going on in families, and there's a lot of pressure on moms. Motherhood is, intensive mothering is the period of parenting we are in.
Hmm.
And it's a high stress environment that we've created for ourselves, like in some ways. And so, not even from trauma, it's like almost the toxicity of the parenting culture right now is so disruptive to our nervous system in
Yeah.
general.
Well, and with foster care,
Yeah.
I have chosen it over and over and over for a long period of time. So like, I have a 17 and a 14-year-old. Like, I
You could be
shouldn't
done.
be
You
in
could be almost
intensive
done.
parenting anymore. And I also have a 2-year-old.
I
So there's
know.
also this like, oh, I have been changing diapers for 17 years. I have been being woken up in the middle of the night and chasing around a toddler in a parking lot for 17 years now.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there is this like the way a new mom feels like, of, oh my gosh, the toddler, where are they? And I'm now in my 40s and I've
Mhm.
been doing it for 17 years. And yeah, there is this like really prolonged sort of stress
Mhm.
of that foster care brings. Forget the trauma piece, just the
Yes.
parenting over and
Just
over in
having young children over
perpetuity.
and over again in your house.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
so you have to
another
work extra
reality.
hard for sure. And I love it. I think what you're doing is incredible, Jamie, and your family, and just providing a safe place for
Oh, thank
children.
you.
It's really beautiful. And hearing just the stories that come from foster care, and some of them are so tragic, and knowing that there's safe families that kids can land in while they figure out placement long term or reunification, whatever's the
Yeah.
goal. Um, you're doing such good work.
Oh, thank you. It's really a joy. We love the kids and it really is an honor. It's a privilege. So we really see the blessing that it is for us that we get to play a part in these kids' stories and their healing. Even though, as we've talked about for the past however long, it's hard and it brings a lot of hard into our family and our lives.
Yeah,
It
but
is a
also growth.
privilege.
I think so much growth, right? You just
Sure,
learn deeper and deeper levels of what you're capable of, and like why things bother you, and it's just kind of an invitation over and over for growth and
for sure,
expansion.
for sure.
Yeah, even though I'm like I'm tired of growing.
Yeah.
Um,
Can we just take a nap?
all right. So how can people find you? What do you? Oh, we want to talk a little bit about your book for those people who live a gospel-centered life. You have your book, God
Yeah.
Loves Kids. It's
Yeah.
for kids in the foster system. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's a book. It's actually a book for all kids. But it's a book about foster care. So
Yeah.
for kids in foster care or kids in foster families or kids just learning about foster care, and walks through foster care. And then yeah, just this big picture of God's love for kids, over all of the hard that kids are walking through, which is very real. And so I'm not shying away from the hard.
No,
It is
no, it's
just
really
like,
honest. It's really,
yeah,
yeah, beautifully written.
yeah. But yeah, I share again about the hard and, always the of it all, the hard and the beautiful of foster care and our family, at Foster the Family blog, on social media and online. And I lead an organization called Foster the Family. So that's fosterthefamily.org. But those are the places that you can find me online.
Yeah, if you're at all curious, that's so good. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Darlene. It was really great to talk.
Hey, Mama, if you enjoyed this podcast episode, I want to encourage you to do two things. The first is go to my website, calmmamacoaching.com, and get a copy of the Stop Yelling cheat sheet. You'll get a step-by-step breakdown of the most important tool I teach, which is the pause break. And you'll also get 40 ideas to reset your body and balance your nervous system so you don't have to yell at your kids. You can get a copy of that, again, at my website, calmmamacoaching.com/stop yelling. The other thing I'd love for you to do is go to Apple Podcasts and rate and review this podcast so that other moms can discover empowering and helpful, practical parenting strategies, just like you did today. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. It means a lot to be in your ear every week and to support you on your parenting journey.